This is Indian Country Today.
Within the Department of Energy, there is an Office of Indian Energy that deals exclusively with tribes. According to the DOE, there are two types of renewable energy sources that have been successful for tribes in the West and Midwest, and they are wind and solar. And today's guests know a lot about both. They are working with their nations to harness the power of the sun and the wind. Joseph Mcneil Jr. is the president of Standing Rock Development Corporation, which is a business of the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe in North Dakota. In that capacity, he serves as the general manager for SAGE Development Authority. And SAGE is a public power authority by and for the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here with you.
And also, Robert Blake has two companies. He is the executive director of Native Sun Community Power Development, and he's the owner of Solar Bear, a solar installation company. Both businesses are located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bob is working with his own tribe, the Red Lake Band of Ojibwe, on some very ambitious solar energy projects. Great to have you on the show today, Bob.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be here.
And Bob, tell us, how did your tribe decide to pursue solar energy?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting because what we saw was the walleye population had a high content of mercury. And here at Red Lake, we are in Minnesota, where we're the land of 10,000 lakes, and Red Lake has the biggest landlocked lake. And the walleye business, our fishery, is our oldest business. It's over 100 years old. And when we started seeing the walleye had a high content of mercury, the tribe decided that we need to go away from fossil fuels for our energy source and look at renewables to power our tribal enterprises, our energy source, and just for our community. So we looked at solar, we looked at wind, we looked at hydro, we looked at a mix of these, and so we came up with a plan to power our community through renewable energy, and that's what we're working on right now.
And so it's interesting that you looked at your food source and saw that it was being impacted by fossil fuels. What other benefits do you see with renewable energies for your people?
Well, we also see the opportunity to create jobs. We feel like this could be this power source can really be the driver of economic development and entrepreneurial opportunities for the community. We all know that Native communities, don't necessarily agree with this colonial capitalism system, and with us being able to create our own economy within our own borders, we feel like we're going to be able to better participate with the outside system. So, this goes much deeper than a renewable energy project. We really do feel like this is hitting a human health crisis too. So that's why we're really excited about this, and really want to pursue this as we go further.
Explain a little bit more when you say human health crisis. Beyond the food, what are you concerned about?
Well, we really do believe that, like I said, is that, we don't necessarily agree with how colonial capitalism is set up. We feel like that clashes with Native values. And we're more community, we're more family-based society. And, this top-down mentality of winners and losers don't always, it conflicts with Native values. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to be able to better participate in our community with the outside community, but do it on our own terms instead of the outside always making the conditions for us to be successful. We want to start making our own terms and really trying to get to the point of where we're dictating the rules of the game instead of the game always dictating it to us. So we feel that this can go ahead and battle missing, murdered Indigenous women. We believe that this can battle opiate, drug, alcohol abuse. And we really believe that, what comes down to it is that it's all about purpose. It really is about purpose in our community. And with this renewable energy source, this will be able to give our community those opportunities and give our people the purpose that they want in being successful.
It sounds like you and the group that you're working with have really thought about some of the traditional values for your people and putting that into this new company.
Oh, absolutely. We know that we can't do this journey alone. We know that that we need to be able to participate with other tribes too. We know that that in the old days we had trading routes where we worked with one another and we brought good medicine to each other's tribe. And that's exactly what we're trying to do now. Is that everything that we learn, we want to be able to share with other tribes, share that good medicine, and work once together with each other. And so that's why this is so important to us, and we believe that that this is really important to Native country too.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you in a minute here, Bob. Let's turn now to Joe and to Sage Development here. Sage is almost a year old. What are some of the successes you've had in this first year, Joe?
The first year really started off just getting our board together, just starting to have best governance practices according to the American Public Power Authority. We really feel like going with the public power model as an organizational structure best reflects community determined development. Just like Bob was saying, this is power for our people eventually, where we're building commercial scale renewable resources that will be a revenue resource driver for our community to impact jobs, local economy, the ability to fund financial institutions, to bring credit building to our people, to be able to help the tribe as another revenue driver outside of just the casinos and land leases. So that original approach of going public power was critical for us and establishing the board. So Sage Development Authority has its own board, and we pursued the Section 17 designation through our tribe, and we were successful in that. We're also pursuing a Hearth Act designation, and right now that's back up at the chain at DOI for approval, so that we have more control over our land siting ability. So much like what Bob was saying, I met Bob last year on a solar installation training they had at United Tribes, and we really got together and we were speaking the same language in a lot of different senses. So back to Sage, we have our interconnection application in to the Southwestern Power Pool, which puts us in the queue. And we're going to be in that queue for 2.5 to 3 years. So during that time, we're doing the work right now to maintain the production tax credit for 2020 by building a maintenance road to the sites. We're doing our cultural review of the site locations as they are right now to make sure that we are completely avoiding sacred sites. And that's paramount for us, that spiritual connection that we have as Lakota people remains untouched, because someone's going to have a dream and they're going to be driven, have that dream to go somewhere on a hill. And we don't want to make sure that those places are still there for our youth when they make those connections, when we make our connections to our relatives that have passed on in Star Nation. So we've done quite a bit. And right now we're in the process of what we like to call de-risking the project, getting a lot of the pre-development done to prepare to start having discussions with power purchasers that align with our values, that align with Standing Rock's values, and then go for a developer at that point. So we're really going to take a good long period of time to make sure that we're selecting the right folks that want to be involved with us for the long-term relationship that we're going to be involved in. So the Development Authority is eventually we're looking at a long plan to build capacity and take ownership of the utility that currently serves our population on the North Dakota side. So we've begun some of those discussions, and we've started the planning to do that.
Well, certainly a lot of planning going into everything, and even the name for this particular division here. Tell us the name in Lakota, and what does it mean?
Pejuta is sage. And so when sage was developed, the name was strategic, achievable goals for protection of the environment. But sage itself, we use it for cleansing. We use it for ceremonies to clear the air, to cleanse from bad spirits or negativity. And we use it as medicine. So for us, this project is good medicine. This project, I'd like to say, is a prayer for us. So this beginning prayer to establish a way to establish renewable energy projects for our people here at Standing Rock, and to share that with all of our tribes in Oceti, Sakowin, and beyond, so that if this model works good for us, then you don't have to recreate the wheel at another tribe. We'll give you the model so that you can do it yourself, because everyone's going to do it their own way, like everyone prays to the same creator, but prays in their own way. So that level of respect, we know that we're going to have in relating to other tribes in this prayer, in this effort. But no prayer is answered without the work. So we know that the work must be done too. And that's where we're really drilled down at, and making sure we're doing the initial steps as best we can correctly.
Well, it's interesting you say that you're willing to share this plan with other tribes, because that's kind of like that trading that Native people had back in the day. A lot of trading with goods and services, and now today looking at this in a new form of business, but still being able to trade and share your information on what it takes to build this renewable energy resource.
Initially back, I think it was 2013, there was the Oceti Sakowin Power Project, where I think 7 tribes of Oceti Sakowin got together to talk about public power, and have agreed to, collectively and independently pursue their own goals. And Oceti has got 2 projects they're going to be going on, and they have a power purchaser. So, we wish them the very best that they're doing, and we'll continue to share and be a part of that organization. We're a member of Oceti Sakowin Power Authority, OSPA, and we want to give them a lot of props here too, because it's that sharing of the information, that starting that collaboration and working together, and that respect that, we're not rivals. We're all working to serve our people, and all of our people collectively are the nation. So the nation rises when we share and we continue to move ahead.
And when you look at your company, and then you look at renewable energy on a global level, some of the countries that are doing a lot in renewable energy include Germany, the UK, even China. Where does the U.S. rank, and where would you rank your renewable energy efforts?
I'll hand that off to Bob to start. I know he's got something good.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
All right. Well, I really do believe that Native nations can lead the way here. We've got 573 tribal nations here on Turtle Island, and we know that the United States has backed out of the Paris Climate Treaty Agreement. And so my whole thought is, we can't take back this land physically. We can't go to war with the United States again, but we could take back this land morally, and the time is right now. And that's through renewable energy, and that's leading a green revolution. And that's why I believe that tribal nations share a very important role in climate change and just protecting the environment. This is part of our cultural teachings. This is part of who we are as a people. This is our right. And it was our right before people got here on Turtle Island. It's going to be our right after everybody leaves. So that's why this is so important. And I love what all tribal nations are doing as far as renewable energy is concerned. But I really do believe that this is our opportunity and our time.
All right, Joe?
Really can agree with Bob on that one. I knew he was going to start off really well. We have our land bases. We have our own laws, our practices. We've been here for eons. Before anyone came to this place, we knew what we needed to do in order to reinvigorate and resuscitate and keep the land in balance. And this is why we're working to build these projects in a culturally appropriate way, in a sacred way, so that it respects the land. It respects not just the people, and not just the spaces, but all the inhabitants therein, past and the future. That type of thought and respect that we give to the environment, to the world we live in, not on, is what's going to, I don't say save the world, but it really is the driver, so that when people start looking at how do I do do a renewable energy project, they're going to take a look at what we're doing as Native nations, because we're not doing this in the sense that we're venture capitalists. or colonial capitalists, like Bob said. We're doing this so that our people can have a better life. And even those people who aren't native that live in our lands, will be served by what we produce here. But we're doing it so that we lift our people out of poverty. We give our people more choice and more resources, so you don't spend on what you need to spend. You can actually spend on what you want to spend. So by producing a cheaper electric cost, and more ability to have economic diversity within your own homelands is great. But this is enriching the community, the nation, not somebody's personal pockets. That's where the real difference is for how we look at it as Lakota people and Native nations versus a capitalistic, sense.
And that's a huge difference, to really think about doing this for your people as opposed to a group of investors coming in to create a company that would make money for them. And that's a big change in the way of thinking when it comes to doing business in this country. And we're looking at some hard numbers. I read that on your reservation, Joe, the poverty rate is at 40% and the unemployment rate is at 70%. And you mentioned earlier a little bit about how this renewable energy company can help alleviate some of those issues. What do you see as part of that hope and part of that change of the situation there on your reservation?
When people see things change physically, they see a wind turbine going up, or like Cody did up in Cannonball with indigenized energy. When they see solar panels up, they go, something's different here. Somebody at home did something. That changes the minds of a lot of kids that go, this is my opportunity, and what's beyond that? So just by viscerally seeing these projects go up are going to change the outlook and a person's ability to have limitless potential. And that, coupled with being raised, in a native way, in an indigenous way, of bringing up your people and helping those who can't help themselves, those are the elderly and those are the sick and the young, to take care of them, is a real holistic sense of raising your community up. So that sense of opportunity is tremendous. I would like to see, and this is what we have in our strategic plan when we talked about this, as Standing Rock being an innovative location to test wind turbines, to test new technology, to be that central location, or a location where technologies can be tested and developed and have our children be part of that. So at our local community colleges, we all have local tribal community colleges. Those types of programs can be, grant funded for a period of time to spark that interest through high school and community college, so that we can generate more engineers, technicians, maintenance.
So really creating your own pipeline, starting from elementary school, as you mentioned, into high school and community college.
Right. Exactly. But the revenues from this too, and being a utility and development authority, would give us the freedom, because we are a Section 17. We're not directly influenced by the tribal council and their politics, to be able to funnel funds to financial institutions that would serve independently to be community directed and driven. So go to get out there and see what the community wants and needs as far as financial stability, education, credit building, small business loans. And we do that to a degree through our Oyate CDFI, but that's something that needs to be bolstered up. But every community would do well, or could do well, to provide those types of avenues for community development that are determined by your own communities and districts. No district is the same. And give that voice of the people some horsepower to it, so that those things can be achieved in a long-term sense.
And as you looked at developing your own company, did you look across Indian country and see some areas and some tribes that were doing really great renewable energy companies and projects?
Well, there's Navajo Power right now is a real beacon, the work that they're doing. But also, I got to give props to Bob Blake sitting here. The work that he's done over at Red Lake is really invigorated, to show what can be done with solar at this latitude, because that was being put down, in North and South Dakota, that we're at the wrong latitude to do solar. But what they're doing in Minnesota is really disproving that. Now we have large solar projects going up in North Dakota, and we're discussing that same option here as well, with larger solar as well in the mix with wind. But when we start talking about community development, there's here in the Dakotas, there's been Thunder Valley, and what they did to invigorate their community and create a newer community sense, where people, if they want to participate, can participate, and I don't say break free, but change how you want to live and not be caught in the box that we've been all placed in by the government on these reservations and these war camps to say you're going to get this ration, you're going to get this house, you're going to pay this rent, and you don't own anything. So we don't have anything to pass down to our communities. We just live in these systems. So this is a chance for us. I really believe this, that we begin to own our own systems, direct our own systems through our own people's direction and our guidance. And it's not for to enrich ourselves, but it's for our kids to have a better way of life.
Well, I'm really feeling that power that you have behind this effort that you're undertaking here. And it's really, again, a different way of thinking and a different way of approaching business. And what about you, Bob? As you look around again across Indian country, what were you seeing as great projects by tribes in this area?
Oh, Gila River, absolutely. 30 years ago, they bought the transmission lines, and now they're serving all of Phoenix with their utility. They're incredible. They're absolutely incredible. The forethought that they thought 30 years ago. And so that's what I mean when I say that Native people, we're thinking 7 generations ahead and not just 4 quarters, and that's the difference between, our way of life and the outside way of life. And that what they have done down there is absolutely incredible. And I love their model. And that's what really inspires me too.
Very good. And what's next for you, Bob?
We're doing the same. We're doing the same thing. We're putting together a Red Lake EVAC committee, Energy Vision Advisory Committee, creating a utility, going down the same road. And we hope that we can go ahead and kind of be the first in the state of Minnesota, and then get that out to the other tribes in the state, and then create a tribal utilities commission where that coincides with a public utilities commission. So when we decide where pipelines and other things go in our state, that the Public Utilities Commission has to go ahead and consult with the Tribal Utilities Commission. Tribal Utilities Commission goes ahead and consults with the Public Utilities Commission. So I think that's what's really important for the future. And then, for all of our tribes to work together. So we are then going to go ahead and purchase and buy and sell power on a national scale. I mean, that's where all this is going.
Wow. Well, it sounds very aggressive and very impressive. And Robert Blake, we want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And Joe, last thoughts. What should people know about your efforts there and your next step?
One thing we're doing is we're crowdfunding. And on petuwi.com, ANPETUWI.com, we're crowdfunding so that our tribe, that we own more of our project. So if there's people out there that want to continue to help what we've done to fight the pipeline, this is the next step. We fought the pipeline. We're still fighting the pipeline. We're protecting our water, but now we're working to protect our energy sources and produce that. So, we're looking for support out there. And this is a model that other nations can do, is crowdfund for their own ownership in their projects. And that is the biggest hindrance, I think, right now for tribes who aren't major gaming revenue tribes that don't have that kind of resource. But we're turning at every corner that we can to not just be innovative, but to captivate our market and be that producer, like Bob is saying, large scale energy production to sell. And we help our communities in that way.
And there's certainly plenty of wind and sun to go around.
There are Native foundations too that are helping in this effort. So, take a look at what foundations are out there because they're looking to help, all Native nations lift ourselves up.
All right. Well, Joseph Mcneil Jr., thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Your life is precious. I'm Patty Tholahungva. Join us again tomorrow.
Indian Country Today is recorded at the Phoenix Indian School Visitor Center in Phoenix, Arizona.
This is Indian Country Today.